He's never caught a pass or made a tackle or scored a point. Chris Hayes has never even touched the ball in a game. But he has touched his teammates in a way he never hoped for, and ways they'll never forget.
He doesn't really fit the bill of a typical football guy, but the 4 years that I've been here, I've never seen somebody work harder and put in more work than he has.
He has one of the biggest hearts on the team. He gives everything he got. That being said, he doesn't have all the physical ability in the world.
4 years ago, Hayes graduated from a high school in Sarasota, Florida that didn't have a football team. That only made his dream all the more unlikely.
I've always been joking about it since like my freshman year of high school that I tried for the Miami Hurricanes. All my friends thought I was crazy.
It was like, I'm going to go to the University of Miami and play football. Okay, fine. I mean, we just went, sure.
At 5'9", 160 pounds as an incoming freshman, Hayes not only tried out for the Hurricanes, he made the team as a walk-on receiver and immediately called his parents with the news.
My dad, I talked to him first. He was just astounded, and he's a man that rarely swears at all. He goes, pardon my French, and then just goes on to this tirade about how amazing this is.
We were both in shock. We really were. And I have to tell you, I had to go see my therapist next week because I was like, this can't happen. He's going to get killed.
Making the team was one goal, getting on the field, another. In his first 2 seasons, without a scholarship, Hayes never missed a practice or a meeting or a film session, but never suited up on game day.
Chris is a try-hard guy. He goes out there and gives you all the effort he can. And you know, not everybody's good enough to play at this level.
On a Monday last October, as the Hurricanes prepared to play Wake Forest, Hayes got a call from his mom. It was about his father, Mike.
I just picked up the phone, and I could obviously tell something was going wrong. She said, your father's gone. I mean, that was pretty much all she had to say.
I don't remember what I told, other than the reality of what had happened. I mean, I told him that this was a suicide. I mean, I did not keep that from him. I couldn't, really.
My mom told me that he had taken his own life, and it was just like, what? What are you kidding me? Like, I don't understand. Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean he did this?
Hayes returned home to Sarasota. 4 days later, his father was buried. During that week, Hayes received an outpouring of support from his team. With constant calls and texts from players and coaches, he made a decision about Saturday's game.
I was thinking, I have to be there. This is how I start the next chapter in my life.
The team had given him strength to get through the week, and the team was going to give him strength to keep going after he was back.
As it turned out, the coaches also made a decision. After arriving back in Miami just an hour before kickoff for the first time in his life, Chris Hayes suited up in full pads for a game.
Our kids put their arms around him and was hugging him. We had starters that were crying. I was crying. Chris was crying. And I mean, it was a magical moment.
Hayes stood on the sideline, but when the game entered its final minute and the Canes had a victory in hand, there was one more play to call.
Coach Panunzio grabs me and says, go, you're in at tight end.
I look across, and the guy that's across from me is Aaron Curry. And Aaron was one of the top 2 or 3 players taken in the draft. And oh my God, I'm going to make the news. I'm going to get this kid killed.
And I'm just thinking, oh boy. I mean, I'll try and block him as best I can, but if he comes in hard, like, this might be an issue.
Wearing number 49, Hayes lined up at tight end. The ball snapped, the quarterback kneeled. For almost anyone watching, it was the least significant play of the game. But for the Hurricanes, it would become the most memorable.
And I just hear guys just screaming, like, get him up, get him up. They're picking me up, put me on their shoulders, and right there, just tears of joy. Like, I was so happy.
Maybe Chris Hayes is not the very best football player there ever was, but Chris Hayes is a great person, and he's what we're all about, and he tries to be better every day, maybe more than anybody we got. Maybe that's why they hoisted him up.
After being put down on the ground, Hayes climbed into the stands and found his mother, who watched the entire scene unfold.
He scaled the wall, and we stood there and we hugged and cried. This was a fabulously positive end to the worst week in our life. And just in that happening was enough for both of us to move forward.
What do you think your dad saw that day?
If he was there, I know tears. He was crying. And it was the same thing, it was joy. It wasn't sadness and everything, it was joy. I know that for a fact.